Welcome everybody to the Culture Shock Podcast, episode number 9. This is your boy Pat Bayless, my co-host Los, and today we got two special guests for this special episode of Juneteenth. My guy Nigel, what's up, Nigel?
What's going on, bro?
And my girl Lay, what's up? How you doing?
Hey.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
My sister, my brother.
Yes. So today's episode is really special because it's a real learning episode for a lot of people. I think a lot of America being divided and really not knowing what the hell they even divided for. You know what I'm saying? That it's a black, white, all types of different shit. But people don't really truly know the meaning behind Juneteenth. Don't really, a lot of people just joke around. I hear it a lot in the workplace, especially. Oh, this is another holiday. It's a holiday we get paid. All that kind of corny shit. But today is to really show one love for the date and really learn knowledge from great people that you see right here in front of me. So right off the bat, I'm gonna ask you, Nigel, like, what's the meaning for people that don't know the meaning behind Juneteenth?
Well, first, because this is my colleague, I'm gonna let you know her name is Lay.
Yeah,
before we, because I know you feel me. We got a black woman. You feel me? Her name is. It's different. So Lay, you said Lay.
I definitely said Lay.
But it's different. So the meaning behind Juneteenth is really different. A lot of people don't understand that, So I just moved. I'm from New York, Texas. And I'm in the state that Juneteenth is really the reason for.
Right.
So, in 1963, they said Emancipation Proclamation. That's when, slaves were freed, but in the state of Texas, slaves weren't freed for 2 years later. So I live in the state where Juneteenth is the purpose of.
It's different in Texas.
And in the state that I live in, they don't even celebrate Juneteenth.
That's crazy.
To them, why would they?
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Right.
You feel me? Why would they?
And even deeper, right? So like Nigel's in Houston, the Galveston is maybe a 20-minute drive. So Galveston is the particular island in which the enslaved people were still being enslaved after the Emancipation Proclamation. And so because they were geographically separated from the state by it, because it is like an
off-land, yep.
Right. They were not privy to the knowledge that they were
and why would they wouldn't tell them? They wouldn't tell them. Right?
They were waiting for another harvest. Texas literally decided as a state that they were going to wait for another harvest to get another harvest of income out of free labor.
Yeah.
And so, but who was going to check them? And guess who all knew that Texas still had slaves?
That part.
Exactly.
The thing about
Texas
it
is a Lone Star state. It's its own country.
Right.
So who was going to check Texas and tell Texas to let them go?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Everybody knew.
My question to you is, you were taught your whole life that slaves were emancipated by Abraham Lincoln.
Right.
But in my state, they were still slaves for 2 more years.
Right.
You feel me? So the fact of the matter is, were they really emancipated?
Right.
And let's keep it a stack when we're saying Abraham Lincoln, because people like to give Abraham Lincoln a lot of credit for emancipating the slaves. Let's keep it a stack and talk about how free labor in the South threw off the economy from
Get into it.
And so because it was all about money, because he definitely said if I would keep them as slaves, maybe to keep the money and keep the country going, they would have never been, free.
Yeah.
So it was more of a
financial
power move. It was a money move. It had nothing to do with
it was
caring about, black people.
And that's what people don't get.
America is.
That's what people don't get.
Business transaction.
Right.
Exactly. You have to remember that. America is a corporation, is United States Corporation of America.
Right.
And the thing about it is, this man got a statue in the middle of DC. This man gets praised as one of the best American presidents ever. But the fact of the matter is, this man said, if I can keep slavery and keep the South from seceding, I would keep it.
Down, right.
You feel me? I'm down.
Right.
I see, Los, you got a question.
Los got kids.
I just got a phone call. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
It's all good. But the fact of the matter is, though, when people say, "What does Juneteenth mean to you?"
Right.
It's, well, I mean, it's just the day that we were given where we should have been had 2 years before.
Right.
So it's like, oh, okay, well, Juneteenth, but it's like, well, what happened to 1960? You know what I mean? Like,
right. So what do you think? So, like with that, just personally, what do you feel? Do you feel, you know how like people celebrate it and have, you know, things for it? Do you feel a sense of celebration, or you just feel like, in a way, like a pro and a con kind of feeling when you think about that? Because I know period, that's got to piss you off, just the fact of that some people actually believe that, oh yeah, this is when it happened, and like you said, 2 more years they held people down, you know what I'm saying, and people knew that, but they were willing to, you know what I'm saying. So how does that make you feel on that day?
Yeah, I'm at 1863, but it is still a day of celebration. You know, it is the day that we literally were freed from slavery. But the question is, when have we really been freed from slavery?
Right. And we definitely going to tap into that. And I know that Lee was talking about books and stuff like that. And you was too about it. It's kind of whitewashed. Like, you're not really taught in school the actual stuff and the events that actually happen. You know, there's events that happen in Tulsa that we never taught about. There's events that happen all different spots, and we just never shown the correct way. It's kind of all political, and it's kind of based off of whatever the hell, like you said, it's a corporation.
Right.
So,
but I mean, why would they tell us, right? Why would they tell us the truth? And and oftentimes we think about like Tulsa and things like that, but you got to remember, like Central Park used to be a thriving Black community. Let's not forget Seneca Village. So it's also spaces all throughout the United States that were pillar Black communities, thriving Black communities that are not mentioned in your history books because they're not supposed to be. No one's going to talk about Tulsa, because then you have to talk about how who got planes to drop bombs on communities besides the military. So then you have to have conversations of how the military is incorporated into the process of whiteness and racism and white supremacy.
Right.
So why would that be in your textbooks? Right. If the people who are writing the story are the people who are telling you what to believe and how to understand the world, why would they ever tell you the truth?
Right.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like our textbooks, even in like Texas, like if you look at the textbooks in Texas, will literally, the cover of it had like a white man, a white Egyptian man.
Oh, I got you. I got you right here.
Yes.
Let me see.
This is the picture.
Yes.
Oh, hell no. I've seen that book. Yeah, that's the U.S. history textbook.
I know you've seen this book.
I've seen that book before. Hell yeah, for sure.
That's the same dude they used to like make Jesus at this point.
Yep.
Like.
Yep. I remember that. Wow, I forgot all about that picture. Holy shit. Yeah, I do remember.
That's the thing that I talk about too, because, you know what I'm saying, like, everything revolves around Black history. And the fact of the matter is that if people in white society understands that, they understand that everything revolves around Black history. But if we can teach our people that everything revolves around white history, then we can negate Black history. And that's what they're trying to do in Texas right now. They're trying to negate slavery as a whole. They're trying to negate anything that happened between segregation and slavery as a whole. And it's like, why?
Right. And do you feel like, I know it happens, but you could kind of sense it now. I think now more than ever, I feel like as I've grown up, obviously we're all grown up in different environments, different cultures, all different stuff. But to see the world where it's at right now, I feel like it's always been divided. We've always been divided, but it feels like everything now, it's just hate. Like hate on everything. And I think especially white people, I feel like they feel pressure. Like I feel like they really feel the pressure on their chest. Not even gonna lie. I just sense it, like they feel the pressure on their chest from different communities, including the Black community, and they're like, nah, we need to take back our country. Now, saying that and hearing that, I know that that's got to piss you off. Now, how does that make you feel when you kind of go to these communities where there's mostly white people? Do you feel how do I put it, a sense of on edge?
I mean, that's
Ooh, Nigel, we can talk about Corpus Christi.
Yeah, I mean, you feel me? So like, I'm gonna keep it brief with you. So, me and her, we are in our doctoral program.
Okay.
We went to a doctoral program in Corpus Christi.
Okay.
And she received death threats during the time of Trump election. You know, Trump's election with Biden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was crazy because during her time of getting death threats, people came to me like, "Oh, well, are you getting any threats?" Well, and it was death threats towards Black people. And she said, "Well, are you getting death threats? Is it any convenience to you? Why should you feel anything because somebody else is getting death threats?" And I said, "Because I'm Black."
Right. Right.
They said Black people, and they told her specifically, "Well, during election time, you should probably leave because
get up out of here."
They told you that?
Yeah. Oh, we would be here all day. Like within 24 hours of moving to my townhouse,
listen,
they were like people with the shotguns on the front porch. They rang my doorbell all night long so I couldn't go to sleep. They had their kids like vandalize my home. They took pictures of my license plates. Like they were interrupted by my presence in their community.
Exactly.
And so when you ask, like, do we feel nervous in certain spaces? Interruption of my livelihood will always make me nervous.
Right.
I'm also the type of person that the way I navigate this world, every space belongs to me.
Exactly. And the thing about that is, Pat, it's like, yo, me and Pat, we're from New York, bro.
Right.
We deal with a different level of racism.
Right.
We deal with racism systematically. We see racism partially, but I've never experienced racism until I've actually come down here. Right. And I went to one of the most racist towns in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to one of the highest lynching station in America. You know, at that.
Right.
You know, and the fact of the matter is, we went to school there, and me and her were both pursuing our doctorate there. And people said, "Well, what are you going through, Nigel? Because Ashley's going through death threats. What are you going through?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm Black too."
Right.
What do you mean?
You don't need to go through death threats in order to, That's...
They said Black people, you should get out of here. I said, "Well, I'm Black too. What does that mean to me?"
Right.
But that was their understanding. It wasn't, and that's the reality of whiteness, is that they believe that things have to be subjective. Right. It has to be directly impacting you for it to be something that they can agree is like a blanket statement. So like, because they have the difficulty, it's like it's a sick situation of cognitive dissonance. And you know, I'm a therapist. I'm gonna use my words when they come up because I'm
use whatever you want. Go ahead.
So like the psychological understanding of safety does not appeal in white communities the same as Black communities because they've never had to be unsafe. Exactly. When the society and military and social systems, the superstructures, now I'm getting into sociology, the superstructures that are created to protect whiteness has never intimidated them in a way that they didn't feel safety. So them understanding the concepts of safety in which African American and Black and brown people experience is not possible.
Right.
They literally do not have the understanding or the like cognitive reasoning to connect to the sense of safety when it comes to the experiences of Black and brown people. So that's why when I got death threats, they were like, "Well, what's wrong with you, Nigel? You didn't get no death threats." Even though my dad says, "Niggas, get out of Corpus Christi."
Right.
Like they could not connect the dots to think that Nigel was also in danger.
Yeah, and we literally had to flee our community to make sure that we were
safe. I had to leave my home.
I had to leave my home for 2 months to make sure that I was safe. And that's the thing about that too, because at the end of the day, like she said, people will ask you like, "Hey, like, are you going through something?" If you're not going through something, then, and it's like, whoa. Listen,
I'm still, exactly.
It's something that I go through every day. This is something new to you. And a lot of people don't understand that there's been many studies that white people don't understand the aspect of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So empathy is really understood differently by them, because even when you hear white people say, "Well, slavery wasn't that bad," well, slavery was 300 years ago. And it's like, what?
Right. Meanwhile, it still happens nowadays, just in a different form, in a certain form.
And that's my next question to you.
Right.
When did we really get out of slavery?
You haven't. You haven't. And I'll be the first one to say that. Like I always say, and I think I said it a couple times on this podcast, the white privilege, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I know it exists. You know what I'm saying? It's not me turning. I know a lot of people that are white that turn the other way when they hear that. Oh, white privilege, that don't exist. Yada 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 yada. You damn right it exists. And I definitely seen it growing up. I'll be honest, the crowd I hung around with was black people. It wasn't white people. You know what I'm saying? So I never felt anything that y'all felt. Let's just keep it a buck. I've never felt anything y'all felt. I've seen it. I've also seen the white privilege part when it came to me during certain shit, and I'm just like, wow, like it's crazy. If it was just somebody else, it was my best friend, it'd be a completely different situation. So I could definitely understand where you're coming from with that when people are sitting here and saying, which I've heard that, like just what you said, where people are like, well, slavery happened so long ago, it doesn't exist now. You damn right it does exist. And honestly, the hate is worse because now it's on social media. It's on, you know what I'm saying? It's everywhere. And people are so comfortable to say it. You know what I'm saying? They're so comfortable now, more than ever to me, to just come out and say it and say however they feel, put on the jackets, put on everything. You know what I'm saying? It's to me, it's sick. Now, do you guys believe there's a way to teach and a way to change society, or do you believe that where we live in will stay the same forever?
I'm gonna let you take that one.
Okay. Why you give me that one, Nigel? Okay.
I'm gonna let you take that one first.
Okay, y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Walk with me. American society is built in a manner to which to make it thrive the way that it needs to thrive. It's interesting when people think about the concept of hope, right? And so it's this misunderstanding. It's the misunderstanding that it's not built the way it's supposed to be built. Just how people see the criminal justice system, they're like, oh, criminal justice reform. Criminal justice system is built the way it's supposed to be built. And the hope for it to thrive is that it's built it's thriving the way it's supposed to.
Right.
And so is there a way to teach it, to understand it differently, to make a difference? America makes money off of divisiveness.
Right.
America thrives off of tricking poor white people into thinking that they are not also in the same predicament as poor blacks, as blacks in general, as minority people. And that the sense of the divisiveness and the process of keeping the divide is the only way for American society to thrive in a manner that's going to keep it going. If we don't if poor white people never know that they are also the same as us, then they have that sense of hope that can support rich white movement. Right. So if I can convince poor whites that they can have access to my world and they are closer to me than they are to Black people, then they'll always funnel this circle. They'll always feed into the concepts of racism in order to protect the balance. So when you ask, is there any hope for it to be any different? It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. And it's unfair for us to not acknowledge that a society is built exactly the way it's supposed to be, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
And that's my of it too, because it's like, is anything different? But it's like a lot of people will think to the high heavens about, oh, the Emancipation Proclamation, it freed us. But it's like, when have we ever been free?
And I was hearing y'all backstage, and that's what y'all kept saying. When were we ever free?
And when were we ever really free? So the fact of the matter is that a lot of people will push that narrative. But the fact of the matter is we're living in times where we're not free.
Right.
No, there's nothing about us that's free. Mm-hmm. There's still millions and 10,000s of Black people dying every day.
Mm-hmm.
And we're saying that we're free. And the fact of the matter is, what is real freedom? Because we've never known it.
Right.
Right.
And so it's crazy how we have these milestones, right? We have these milestones that says, oh, I can buy a car.
Yeah.
I can own a home.
Yeah.
These are all fictional pieces of the ideology of what freedom represents.
Right.
And it's not real. And we buy into it of like, the plantation has just moved, right? So one, you have a plantation of the prison systems. So we moved from working in fields to now working in fields that can be leased. Don't forget Louisiana, they still do convict leasing. So you can still purchase inmates to work your fields in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that.
Let alone slavery is still in the Constitution.
Absolutely. They forgot that line that says, unless you are found guilty of a crime, in which Black people have the highest rate of felonies because they write the laws to make sure that we break them.
Cook that Reagan
it was
shit.
Against the law in Dallas to sag your pants.
Yeah.
Like, you literally are building the criminal justice and law systems to make sure that we are breaking the laws in order to become slaves again.
Exactly.
So and it's and how many people are on community corrections? Like, we can't house you inside this building, but we control where you go, what you think, what you have access to. You can't apply for an apartment. You can't apply for school. You can't get funding. You can't move throughout American society. You can't move throughout these states without my permission.
And that's the real racism right there.
Right.
I own you. So you have to also remember when we talk about like freedom, where we don't even have the ability to talk about Blackness without people think it's anti-whiteness. There is no freedom even in our speech.
All lives matter.
And you know what's crazy is that
all lives matter.
You just said it's so true. Like as soon as that's talked about, that's exactly where it goes. As soon as that's talked about, like I'm sure there's gonna be people that listen to this podcast. No bullshit.
We can't show expression.
And as soon as they see the title, they're gonna be like, oh, da 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 da, right? And that to me is the sickening part of the way people are, their thought processes are, and the way that, like you said, the economy is all going the way it should. You know what I'm saying? But it's
because they're doing it on purpose. You can see it because like you were saying, it's the perpetuation of the vicious cycle. You know what I'm saying? And it's the disenfranchisement has never stopped. You know what I'm saying? The lawmaking has never stopped. Nope. So the machine is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And we're living in a society in a country that's based off hypocrisy.
Yeah.
So what kind of credibility does America even have?
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
You talking. Listen.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that they say to me that I actually believe now. I'm like, really? No.
It's all bullshit.
The thing about it is, why would you believe a history that's fabricated?
Right.
That's another thing too. That's even adding to the credibility. You really can't tell me nothing. You can't.
Nothing.
You can't.
This is literally what you made up so that we don't really.
And then everybody agreed that was the story.
That was the story
because they got punked into this story.
This is what we're going to tell Black people so they don't know.
Mm-hmm. And if they don't educate themselves, if they don't really go out searching, they're gonna be stuck thinking that
they will educate themselves. We didn't even
have you ever?
But that's what I'm saying. It's not, the privilege wasn't given, so it's like
exactly.
Have y'all ever gotten in a position where, like, Black people be licking their chops and shit like this, right? When a white person has gone out of line, and you have to tell them about themselves. But in a polite way, in a racial way though, because sometimes you gotta remind people that, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'm gonna tell you the truth, bro. Like, and this is the first time that me and Ashley are speaking about it publicly. Like, I was a doctoral student. You feel me? Like, I'm on a terminal degree, the highest degree that you can aspire to.
Go ahead, brother.
And I came into work, and they're like, "Yo, build this desk." I'm like, wait, whoa. Build this desk. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What you mean? Like, you have a janitorial staff? You have no. We want you to build this desk. You feel me? And
I'll slap the hell out of them right there.
Bro,
I'm like, whose desk is it?
I'm not on tap to you, bro. I'm on a full scholarship as a Black man. I'm on a full scholarship to a predominantly white institution.
Right.
Use me as the nigga boy. I'm the nigga in the place. You feel me? They put me front stage and center.
Of course.
At the desk. I'm here at the desk where when you walk into the department, you see me. You feel me? So I embody diversity.
Right.
I'm at the front desk. So it's like, listen, build this desk. And I'm like, whoa, what you mean, bro? Like, I'm not no undergrad, anything like that. I'm on a level where I'm aspiring towards my doctorate.
Right.
But that's where they see you at. Like, yo, listen, if we're gonna pay you, you won't be our slave. You feel me? So I had to come to a place where I was like, yo,
that shit.
That shit, yo, just hearing that shit. Build this desk.
Like, think about that. Like, we a terminal degree, the highest point of education in American society.
Right.
And my task for you is to build my desk.
No.
And then I'm not gonna tell you the other part. They was like, yo, fill my goodie bags.
Nah, bro.
We were on fire.
Yo, bro, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Better than me, boy. Ah, man, I'll be hot.
Yo, fill my goodie bags. We got a meeting later. Fill my goodie bags. And I'm like, yo, bro. Mind to the fact of, yo, I do this shit for my research. My fault. My mama gonna see this. You know she. Pat, you know she don't curse. You feel me? Don't. But yo, you feel me? Do this for my research. I'm not gonna put you on it.
See?
What you mean I'm not gonna put you on it? Matter of fact, we about to go to the highest level of research academia for our profession, but I'm gonna be the first chair. On a black, we're doing research for black people, but a white man.
Ooh, Nigel.
I'm not.
That's a projection.
Listen.
It's giving projection.
I'm talking to you different because I'm not supposed to say stuff like this. And the reason is this is really symbolic because this is me putting my career on the line in white academia.
Right.
This is me putting my career on the line for white people to feel comfortable in their own space, but I'm making them uncomfortable right now.
Just your existence.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's your presence. Your presence.
So, what you
and that's
mean?
the thing. So, like, for us to be like Black scholars, let's keep it a stack. Nigel and I were the only African Americans in our cohort.
The whole cohort.
Wow. Me and Nigel. So for us to be Black scholars, for me to have 3 degrees, 4 certifications, and a bomb ass bitch in general, right? For me to be an author, for me to be all of these pieces, and they treat me as though I should be
less than.
I should be thankful that I
and not for nothing. You're working with the double because you're a woman.
Oh, absolutely, and not to mention I'm a lesbian. So let's not start there.
The intimidation factor.
The bottom of the bottom. I am the sticky shit at the bottom of the barrel.
A triple minority.
You know, that's a fact. That's a fact.
A triple minority. A Black woman who's a lesbian.
Don't forget that my grandfather Dominican. Let's go.
Oh yeah,
come on, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I know Black. I'm Dominican.
No. He will cuss everybody out if you call him Dominican. I'm a Black man. He don't play that. But like, I'm the bottom of the bottom. Bottom of the bottom. And so like, but I am Nigel and I are the smartest people, and I'm gonna keep it a stack. We were the smartest people in our entire class. Besides old girl Yun, like we were the smartest people overseas. And they disrespected us because we were Black. Let's keep it a stack. Like, you look at my resume, we'll be here all day talking about the things that I've done, established mental health like organizations, programs, nonprofits. I do the work. So you can't. So it wasn't that I wasn't qualified. It was the fact that I was a Black woman, and they felt that I should be honored to be in the space.
And you know what? They hated to see you in that space. That's why shining. They hated it. They hated being blinded. And the thing she's probably doing this in some heels, or she's doing it and
oh baby, hello.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn.
Listen,
full stiletto pumps and red lips showed up ready.
Right.
The matter is, they worked us down so much that Ashley had a heart attack.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
Bro, listen to me. Listen to me.
Did have a heart attack?
Listen to me, bro.
What?
Ashley had a heart attack, and they said, "Well, when's the next time you can come to work?"
No.
See,
that's that bullshit.
When's the next time you can come to work? You feel me? So, but one of our other
white don't experience pain.
One of our other white cohort members said, "Yeah, my mom's not feeling good. Take a week off."
I was gonna say they told me give 2 weeks.
My mom's not feeling good.
Gotta sit down.
Take a week off.
She was like, "I got a headache. Take another week."
Your mom's not feeling good. Take a week off.
Well, because we supposed to be black and strong, we able to run to the ground like horses.
Exactly. They could not understand the fact of like, what do you mean that you can't teach, be a full-time student, and run an entire mental health organization for the free and supervise 7 counselors?
Oh, you see?
So the fact of the matter is,
you're going crazy, sis.
You're
going crazy.
No, bro, she was going crazy. But the fact of the matter is, when you ask, like, yo, have you ever been in a position where you had to combat that whiteness? It's like when you aspire to higher academia, you combat whiteness in everything that you do.
Everything that you do.
Right.
So,
because that's the record books. That's the status quo.
Were slaves able to learn how to read? So what makes the difference between African Americans now aspiring to higher education? Oh, we'll let you learn how to read. We'll let you get your high school diploma. Mm-hmm. Maybe your bachelor's.
But here's like glass
ceiling. Hold you down. Yeah, we're gonna still try to hold you down.
Masters, you might be wilding.
Right.
You might.
But a doctoral degree.
Doctoral degree. Listen, now you got to get out. You're
right. Because at that level of education, you're now quoting me.
Exactly.
What I say matters, and it's in journals, and my publications will speak for themselves. So when you talk about my research, you gotta add my name to the citation.
Right.
My name, and that's what got me tight, because it's like, I'm gonna work for you, but you won't.
But you're not adding your name.
Exactly.
You're not putting my name on it. Why aren't you putting my name on it? What does my name have a difference between yours? Because this is Nigel Simmons and you have a white name.
We did a whole presentation on council education program issues with maintaining and retaining Black students. Why would any white person ever think they're supposed to be first name on that presentation?
Why do you feel like it should be under your name? The thing about it was they told us, yo, you can't do this because you're not a part of this association. It only took $25 to become a part of the association.
That's what.
And I have to be the first chair because I'm in the association.
God.
Matter of fact, you know what? I'm not gonna be there, but also Nigel's not gonna be there. So take him off the presentation in a whole. But you're not.
But I get to stay on there even though I'm not gonna be on there.
But you're not gonna be there. Why would you be on there? Oh, well, because, I'm first chair. You feel me? So those are the things that you encompass and you run into in higher levels of academia, because academia in America is westernized, and it's literally just built to keep us under them, because it's like, why would you want to learn more about you?
Right.
Why would you
didn't tell me anything.
Exactly right.
I've tried for 300 years for you not to learn your history. Why would you learn it now?
Right.
And that's what really it had me back.
And that's why I commend y'all for chasing that education.
I was just about to say that.
And
anybody gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you, I'm proud of y'all. For real.
Oh, absolutely. And we need people like y'all, because what I'm saying, the depiction is what keeps people and what breaks the system. You know what I'm saying? Right. So y'all keep doing y'all things, and give y'all flowers right now. Yeah. But with that being said, is I think to Pat's earlier question, I feel like you were asking if it's ever going to change. And, and why would it? And it's not going to. It's made the way it is supposed to. Right. And I'm just like, I'm baffled, because it's like I look at it and I'm not the end of the definition of woke or aware or whatever. I just tried to do my own self research and do my own research and
wait, hold on, bro. So you're woke?
Nah, I'm aware. Bro.
Listen.
What's up?
That's a white ideology to keep you from being woke.
That's true. That's true. But I think that sometimes it has a negative connotation because people.
No, bro. Listen.
Uh-huh.
If you said to me that you just did the research,
right?
So what makes you less woke than the nigga that did the research somewhere else?
You're absolutely right. If I can have the debates, then I'm right there.
It's not about having the debates. You have the knowledge.
That's true.
So the fact of the matter is somebody else planted that seed in your head that I might not be as woke as I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fact of the matter is if you're less woke, that means you're less knowledgeable.
Right.
Which means that you can't combat the information that's told to you.
Right, because it's the first time you're hearing it.
We told to you is inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact of the matter is whether or not you're woke in this place or woke in that place, you're woke.
Right.
You've woken up. That's the purpose of being woke.
Absolutely.
You've woken up. You've understood that society right now isn't based upon how you need to live in it. But people are not here for you.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is, no matter how woke you are, you can be woke in different places, but that doesn't.
And that's what I think it is. That's what I think it is. People have kind of society has made like a spectrum to the variations of woke, but in reality, it's just the flip of the switch to realize that it's not. Right. It's not really what this is. Like all this is you walking through a threshold. And like, oh,
you could teach me something that I don't. Right. Exactly. You could teach me something that I don't know, and I feel like I'm not woke too, but I know certain things that other people don't know about Black history. You could teach me something that I don't know.
Right. People could teach each other.
That in an aspect, you're more woke than me in other areas.
Right.
So that's true. What makes you less woke? Because the fact of the matter is, most people in the world aren't as woke as you.
You're right about that. I'll tell you that much. I will tell you that much. There's not. Listen.
So that's something that's placed in us as infants, as adolescents, as people growing up, that we're less than. Like, oh, I'm not as woke
or play humble.
As much education.
I don't have much education or thought process behind
That's true.
it.
That's true.
What you mean? You gonna teach me about my education?
Right. Something that I really want people to learn and understand, and something that Lee really specializes in knowing is CRT, the critical race theory.
Oh boy!
Right.
Don't get her started.
I'm gonna call you right to the front on this.
Don't do that, bro.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that truly don't know and don't understand, and I really want you to bring to the forefront the critical race theory and everything that it entails. So please.
Of course. So critical race.
Wait. Before we do this, I'm sorry. Before we do this, not to cut you off. I know it's gonna get good, but we gotta give a disclaimer for the uncomfortable people that's about to hear what's about to happen.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Before we start, we don't care about
that's gonna be in the bio. Don't worry. As soon as they read the bio, they don't know.
Uncomfortable people are unknowledgeable people.
Right. That's true. Close-minded. You're right. You know what I'm saying? Especially in Texas too, because not for nothing, the laws is, you know what I mean? We'll talk to that. But go ahead. I just want to just get
even deeper, because I am currently in Richmond, Virginia, and Virginia is one of the states that have banned critical race theory to be taught. And it's really out of the ignorance of what critical race theory actually is.
Right.
People think that somehow society have made up the story that anything that is pro-Black is anti-white. And I was mentioning before, when we talk about the concept of pro-Blackness means is pro-truth. All of American society, all of humanity, human life comes from Blackness.
Right.
So when we're talking about what is pro-Black, we're talking about pro-truth and pro-life, right?
Talk about the truth.
And so when critical race theory was birthed out of the Black movement, the civil rights movement, and Dr. Derek Bell found that all of these promises were made to the Black community as attached to the civil rights movement. And it was one of those things of like, we made all these promises, but nothing was moving. And so it was a thing of understanding like what is happening in American society that that the promises that were made for Black people were only kept if they had what was called interest convergence, in which it benefited white people specifically. People think that integration into schools was to benefit Black people. That is a lie. White communities benefited more from integration. They got to count more students within their classrooms, but did not teach them, but ended up getting more money from the state in order to fund their institutions.
Yeah, that's got to be money.
Black schools closed down. White schools have a choice to now hire black teachers or not. So we put all these Black teachers out of a job. We close all of these Black schools, in which that's the only way that we got our history from Black people. And then all of our state funding was poured into white institutions, because why would Black children go to schools where they didn't have the textbooks to teach them at the educational level that they were at? So you made the conditions of Black schools so poor and so inadequate to be successful in American society that you didn't leave a choice for Black students but to attend white schools. And when they attended those white schools, they had to learn from the hallway. They had to go through bullying. They had to go through disrespect. They had to go through being beaten. They had to go through being cursed, like all of these different things. And the school got to say, well, we counting Jerome so we can get some more funding, but Jerome got to watch the classroom and learn the lesson through a window outside. So interest convergence is the thing that American society will only succeed to the Black movement if it also benefits white people.
Exactly.
Have we seen that?
And a perfect example is I've got my master's degree
PLM
at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, right?
Okay.
If you listen to even Shannon Sharp, he says that most of the elite athletes in that time have come from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, because the University of Maryland Eastern Shore is found on a plantation. It's found in the middle of Maryland. Harriet Tubman is from the it's from the Eastern Shore. She's from that time.
Whoa.
So what they did during that time was they saw that Black athletes were succeeding. Black athletes were doing better than the PWIs. So what they did was they merged University of Maryland Eastern Shore with Black athletes and took their Black athletes and put them in the University of Maryland. The University of Maryland is a PWI. You feel me? So like she said, if it doesn't interest white people, it won't matter.
But
No,
all of these Black athletes, and it's still to this day, the Big Ten, they take Black athletes and they put them on a higher caliber because they make the white schools look good. So they took everything that we had as an HBCU and they took it from us, because Black people and Black athletes bring funding. Black people and Black athletes.
We bring everything. Let's be real. Let's bring everything.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Being Black, you're welcome.
I got a side question for you, bro.
What's that?
He said you're welcome.
I got a side question, because obviously I agree with everything you're saying. Somebody like Antonio Brown, I don't know if you guys know Antonio Brown, I'm sure. He's, besides the fact that he's losing his mind, he had made a comment recently on a podcast, and he said that Black people need to stop complaining. He said that there is equality in America. He said I got to the NFL and I made all this money. Now, when you hear people say some bullshit like that,
now
listen.
Listen though.
My comment's gonna be a little different.
Yes, I would love to hear your comment. If it's different, I want to hear it. So let me hear it.
So my comment about that is also going to be how I feel about Kanye West.
Okay,
I knew it. Those are parallel.
So I love Ye. I love Ye in a way that
I do.
I don't know what it's like to lose my mother,
right,
and then be immersed in a culture that does not assimilate to who I am as a person. People think that Kanye West lost his mind. No, he was just separated from an understanding of life,
right,
that associated to him as a Black person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are no longer attached to the realities of a particular culture, you cannot understand their experience, because your new reality is that of dominant culture. So
what you're saying is, what I'm kind of hearing from you is, what you're saying is Antonio Brown, once he left the hard, hard part to him, and he got all this money, and he was able to do all this stuff that now he's kind of lost touch of that thought process.
He's no longer a part of a reality that will connect him to understanding life in that way. But also, we have to also remember the thing that pushes us, especially our young athletes, is the concept of Blackness being equated or equivalent to poverty. Yeah. And so the chase that they have is running from the poverty, but in their minds, they are running from the Blackness. Right. And so when they have arrived to money, they have arrived to their brand new plantation. Yeah. Because now they are enslaved by a concept that is in a reality that is not
being rich.
Real. Yeah. It's not real. So now they are enslaved to this mindset of like, because at first it was like, I just don't want to be hungry. I don't want to live this life no more. Right. And so you work so hard to get out of it. And when you get there, who was there to give it to you? A white man. Right. Here's your check. God, damn it. Here's your ticket out. Here's a young white girl who's going to smile at you and never remind you that you're Black. Oh, to live the reality of Blackness any longer.
Yeah. Oh, because
and so we have little babies like him, this young Antonio baby like him, who has drank the Kool-Aid on his brand new plantation, in which he has ascribed his soul to whiteness and money in order to thrive. And he believes that the only way to do that is to ascribe to this new reality.
Now, Lee, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. I know you like Kanye. I love Kanye too. But now he's a part with Kanye. Antonio Brown's a part of the Donda Sports and the Donda brand. How do you feel like their personalities mesh, right? Because Kanye's going through his own trials and tribulations, right? Especially dealing with his ex-wife and everything else that he's had to deal with. How do you feel the Antonio Brown situation where Antonio's kind of thinking like that, Kanye's kind of thinking like that? How does that mesh as far as just them two? How do you feel like it does mesh, and how do you feel like their realities are set now?
I think that's a deeper conversation of the emancipation out of mental slavery. Because people think Ye crazy. Ye ain't crazy. Ye is a genius.
He is. He definitely is.
And sometimes when we convince ourselves that all we have is what we have. And I believe that Kanye has broken that mindset that has allowed him to make money off of people's ignorance. Yeah. That is a very lucrative business.
Yeah. And he does it. He's a great at that.
Ignorance is a very lucrative business. And so
I'm trying to conjure that shit up myself.
Trust me, you can make money off of it.
He knows exactly what he's doing. When he say it, when he do it, he knows.
Most of Yeezy brand stuff is based off of prison material. How people wear their things in prison. The Yeezy slippers are a prison-based slipper.
Yes.
You also have to know Victoria's Secret bras come from prison.
Yo, Pat, I'm not gonna hold you. I got the lime green ones. You feel me? But they're a prison-based system. Right. So at the end of the day, and to be honest with you, if you want to be quite honest, he got his style from a white man. He got his style from Shia LaBeouf. That's his role model. You feel me? So the fact of the matter is, I laugh because
he said why?
Why is it acceptable for white people? Why is it acceptable for white people to dress like bums? But if we dress like bums, it's something different.
It's a problem, right? Well, it's looked at differently.
Everything we do is a problem.
Everything.
Can't barbecue.
Entire style from somebody.
Not the barbecue. Right.
You feel me? And that's what she said. So like my response to that, like of the Antonio Brown and Kanye thing is it's kind of hard to differentiate that because they're two different mindsets.
Exactly.
Right. They're very two different mindsets. Antonio Brown is a person that's on some, I don't care. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do
to get where I want to go.
Right. Exactly. Kanye is like that, but see the difference between Kanye. If you watch the Genius documentary,
that was beautiful.
See the difference between Kanye and Kanye with the Kardashians.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Two different Kanyes.
He had a soul.
Two different, a whitewashed Kanye, and you have a Kanye that was unapologetically Kanye.
Right.
You feel me? And that was the difference. I can appreciate the genius Kanye.
Yeah, me too.
But the Kanye that I have now is more so he's fitting into making himself feel as if he fits into this white America category, which is cool, but he's still Kanye. He's still like Kanye, but at the end of the day, he subjectivized himself to fitting into that category to make sure that he makes money. Cool. You got to make your money. You want to be a billionaire in this society, you can't be a billionaire without making sure you're whitewashed.
Yeah. Universally appealing.
What billionaire you know that's not whitewashed?
Play the role.
You got to play the role.
That's a difference between that little boy and Kanye. Kanye knows that you have to play the role. The little boy has adopted it.
Exactly.
As his lifestyle.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's like, yo, bro, listen, you're a billionaire.
You gotta play with the whites. You want to get the cash.
And that's the thing. Even in education, like we were talking about, we have to play the role until I am at a point where I decide what the roles are.
Exactly.
Right.
But I never sell my soul.
Exactly.
Right.
Never. That people said about us in our doctoral program, because people will ask us, why do you want to do this? And my response is, I want to make sure that every black person application that comes across my desk gets this money.
Done.
Well, why do you want to give just black people? Because I can.
Right.
Because I can. Right. Because at the end of the day, when you see a white person's application coming, oh, we'll give them everything. We'll give them minority scholarships. So if they're white, how do they get minority scholarships?
And not for nothing, let's talk about the population of people who don't even get a call back because of how they're judged on their name.
Bro,
exactly.
The reason I got the call back is because I'm a black man from New York. I made their school seem more diverse.
And then they said, oh, we have another black girl coming too. We have another black person you can be friends with.
I'm going to tell you the truth. The person that recruited me to my school said, yeah, we have a black person from DC.
Let's say something like that, man. It's like,
you should connect with them. I'm like, bro, what you mean, bro? Like you know New York niggas, bro. You feel me? I don't care.
Black people everywhere.
I don't care about nobody. Like, give me my money so I can come to school. They're like, you should connect with this black person because our cohort was the most diverse. We have somebody from China. We have somebody from Nigeria. They used us as a tool to make their school seem more competent. That's what America is right now, a tool to see how much competence we can put out to the public.
Right.
But we're failing. We're doing so bad at it. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
How do you not see it?
It's so bad, bro. Everywhere you work at, even now, bro. And even now, in this year, this is the highest resignment.
The great resignation.
Of ever. People are resigning.
You better be careful.
This generation is learning their worth. And I can't say that I'm not mad at them because at this point in time, they're doing something that we never could. You know, they're resigning because they feel like their worth is not met. And this is something that we've never been taught. We've been taught, you should stay with your job 25 years.
Yes.
Why?
It's always been,
Why? I think that's the thing that I'm celebrating really like for this Juneteenth, honestly, is the knowledge of self-worth that Black people are coming into. Of like, we were not put here to make somebody else rich. We were not put here to keep doing something that's killing us every day in and day out. And Black people are recognizing that there is more for me, and my purpose and my existence is bigger than what society has told me I'm supposed to be doing.
You know why?
I'm ready, Los.
Because we got fucking superpowers.
We loaded up on that.
I'm a mountain of superpower right now.
But in 2020, I got my superpowers.
Right. Listen, I'm a mountain. All I do is go outside for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Charged all day. All day, I'm good.
So Los, you know what's funny? Somebody did a research. They did research on that Black people are arrested more in the summer than any other season.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, black people are melanated. The sun melanates us. This is our season. So we're more energetic than any other race in the world.
We ain't gonna talk about it, Nigel.
I don't want to go.
This is pineal gland. That pineal
gland.
All right now.
The fact of the matter is that you're coming at us for being more energetic. You're coming at us for being more in our season, because this is not your season. So what we're seeing as being more is being violent. What we're seeing as being more is being defiant. But the fact of the matter is, this is the time for us, our people. We're from Africa, bro. You feel me? We live in this melanated state all year long.
Right.
But in America, we only get 3 months of it.
But listen,
the fact of the matter is, in those 3 months, you arrest more black people than anybody.
About it.
Because that's the thing, our creativity starts to burst. Our inability to take bullshit starts to burst. We awaken.
Our receptors. Just is firing.
It's an awakening.
I know y'all.
And that awakening throws off the scale. So what did they do? Get them out of here. Lock them up. They don't know how to act. They out here having too much fun. They're not playing the role we gave them to play.
That's what I was saying before, is that superpower is, they're jealous of that, obviously. And that's why you see the whole organ harvesting and all the other kidnapping, trafficking shit, all that crazy. I know. That's why I saw it.
You going.
I know. I said that on the side. I'm sorry. But back to my main point, it was just the fact that this higher calling and this cling to a greater purpose is the melanin communicating to us. You know what I'm saying? And it's everything. It's everything. The universe is science, is all that shit. It's like people don't get the fact that, like, how were the Native Americans and the indigenous people just privy to just learning shit about the land and being lay of the land? I'm like, this is because it was communicating to them. They knew the stars, melanin is in the space. You know what I'm saying? If they are chocolate and they're like, yo, listen, okay, bang, this is Orion's belt. Da, 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 da. They knew all of that. You know what I mean? You don't say the Mayans mapped off the calendars from what? From space. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were in tune with celestially. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we can't even fathom what the real power of melanin is. And to that pineal gland is like, the fact that they did a study on it and these white doctors thought that shit didn't mean anything. And then they start looking at autopsies and realizing why it's just like this, and that shit's like you know what I mean? So it's like, yo, it's the most functioning I don't want to say muscle, but gland, I guess, whatever. And they're just overlooking the actual function of the thing. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, how? We're not the same. It's clear. We're not the same. We're not the same.
We're not the same. Sorry.
I'm gonna say something very contradictory. Like, it's
let's do it. I alley-ooped it. Go ahead.
It's about to get bad. You feel me? So the fact of the matter is, we've never been the same. White people are a mutation. White people are a mutation.
Talk about it.
They are a mutation. About it. And this is facts. This is not anything that's different. It's facts. White people are a mutation of the black gene.
The Caucasus Mountains.
Don't talk about the Caucasus Mountains, because they was pasting feces and all of these things all over their little cave. You feel me?
Listen, all right now. Talk about the Dark Ages in Europe.
The fact of the matter is, I'll tell you a quick story. Chickenpox isn't from black people.
Oh yeah, we know.
The fact of the matter is, chickenpox is from people who were living in chicken coops. Black people didn't do that. We domesticated chicken. We domesticated cattle. We domesticated animals. But we taught the people from the Caucasus Mountain.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And they still not washing their hands.
And they still don't know how to wash their hands.
Listen, and not for nothing. We saw this because remember there was a time in I think it was like maybe last year in Hollywood, everybody was talking about how they don't use washcloths.
They don't wash their feet.
They don't wash the bottom half of them. But we taught you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you don't use a washcloth. You were a celebrity. What the fuck are you talking about?
Cultural differences, they say.
Nah, fuck that. You gotta use a washcloth.
This sounds very controversial. That we're called colored versus people who want to be colored.
Who was the absence of color? Let's be real.
People want to be tanned. When you're upset, you're red. When you're sick, you're green. When you're sad, you're blue.
Right.
So we're called colored versus people who are every colored but us. But want to have all of our features.
And let's not for nothing. I just want to get, since we're on this black superiority shit, I want to get into the
Don't go there, Los.
No, I got to, because now we're here. We got to get into the genetics. Let's be real, because not just the genes, the seniority, but to the queens, there is the unique ability to copy anyone's phenotype, so that the baby
woman
is
the black woman can make every type of race.
That's the beauty.
It's called the Eve gene.
Right. Exactly.
The Eve gene is the only thing that can create every other race. But the fact of the matter is, no other race can have the Eve gene but the black woman.
Nobody speaks about it.
So the fact of the matter is, you could tell me that you're white, but you can't.
A moment of silence for God.
Facts, though. That's a fact.
The fact of the matter is, you come from us,
right?
But you do everything in your power to not remind you of where you came from. That's the crazy part about it.
And they throw it out there so lightly. They be like, "Oh yeah, all life started in Africa." I'm like, "All right, keep going though. Keep going. No, keep going though. Don't just say that." Talk about the samurais over there in Asia.
We have to have a drop of black blood in them in order to be considered a samurai. Let's go. Right. What's up?
Right. Talk
what
about
the first samurai was a black man. The first samurai ever was a black man.
Which is why you cannot be a samurai without having a black drop in your body.
You can't. And not for nothing. Genetics. Look at the genetics. Asians got high cheekbones. Where they get that at?
Listen. Black people don't crack.
All right now, Asian people can look 12 or 112. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You're gonna look the same,
right?
Why would you get skin disease from the thing that melanates us?
How does the sun hate you? The sun is the only thing that gives life
to everything on Earth. But it hates you.
So let me just ask this question. Y'all don't have to answer this or not. It's just an inference. What I'm saying. So during the passage, the original voyage, right?
Which one?
The ones that mutated them and for their own survival, right? Okay. Would you say them losing their melanin because of genetic? They needed to for adaptation,
for survival,
right? Where they're at. Would you say they lost their sense of civilization?
Yeah.
I mean, if you are in caves where you have to survive off of meat of eating each other, what connection do you have to humanity and the human experience if you rely on eating humans in order to survive? So how could I ever have an understanding or respect for human life if I've used it to survive?
That's all I needed to hear. Let alone you said ever. That's all I needed to hear.
Let alone smearing your cave with feces so that you can keep warm.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, we taught you how to make fire.
Oh.
I got a crazy question. I got a crazy question for y'all because this is an everyday thing. How do y'all feel about medicine? Like, vaccine.
Fuck with the help.
I know, but the health field as far as medicine.
No, I don't take medicine.
And the whole vaccines and all that other shit.
Was it sticks and wet mud? That's what it is.
How do y'all feel about it? I want to know how y'all truly feel about medicine.
I've never trusted America with medicine.
Nope.
I've never.
And why?
At the end of the day, America has
because why?
Us as people to be their prototypes to medicine. Obviously, you've heard of the
hey, go put it closer to the screen. Put it closer. We want to
there
you go.
The Tuskegee, airmen.
An experiment.
I don't know if you heard of that.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Explain it.
So pretty much what they did was I'm gonna simplify it even
more. Because it's deep.
It's deep. It's very deep. So pretty much what they did was they told black people that this was the cure for syphilis.
Okay.
And we're giving you the cure for syphilis, but they gave them syphilis.
That's fucked.
And then they tested them for generations to see how syphilis affected Black people or people in general.
Mm-hmm.
Even after the fact where the government said, listen, this is unethical. You should not be doing this. The government continued to test Black people for this gene.
Right.
So a numerous of Black people in America contracted syphilis for the fact of us trying to just pretty much be an experiment. And that's the very simplified version of it.
Let's not talk about Black
Medical
mothers.
Apartheid by Harriet Washington is an entire damn near like encyclopedia of medical malpractice and discovery.
Oh, here we go with that.
That were in which were used Black people as the subjects. And it wasn't even just to see how syphilis works. They wanted to see how long it takes someone to die, how painful their death would be,
I didn't want to
how it's transferred to their children,
Right.
the lifespan of the children, the miscarriages that would happen during pregnancy. They want to know how fast something deadly was spread within a Black community and how many people it could take at a time. This was chemical warfare. Call it for what it is.
Shit look like where it is now.
I didn't want to go there, but if you go back, why do you think that they went and got Africans instead of keeping people that were Native American?
They were too smart. They knew the way to land.
We're built different.
We're built different.
We're built to survive.
Africans were
That's
the
true.
only people
That's true.
to withstand disease. White people and white settlers brought disease to America.
That's true.
Africans were the only people to withstand disease.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
So the fact of the matter is, why keep a slave that will die from sickness when you can bring a slave that will survive it?
God damn.
We're not
built.
Moment of silence. Really
Now, I'm not taking it because I'm gonna keep it stacked. Some of my lineage is from Native Americans. They're some of the toughest people. Another aspect of it is that Native Americans fought back.
Right. That's what
You feel me?
And they knew the woods too easy.
That's what I'm saying. They knew the land. They knew the land, so they got low.
You trying to take me? Bet I got you, bro. I'm gonna go in the woods. Let's see.
They're like, yeah, I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah, you know where you going because you about to. Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, they went and got Africans because Africans were better slaves than anybody else.
They
could survive sickness.
Not for nothing. They tried white people and that didn't work. They was like, oh no, no.
About that because there were many of white people who were slaves too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it a stack. Let's talk about the Irish. Let's talk about the Greeks. Let's talk about the Italians.
You can't be Irish.
We gotta keep it a stack.
You can't be Irish without being a little Black.
Can't be Italian without being a little Black. Shout out to my man Mansa Musa. Okay, now.
You feel me? So the fact of the matter is, all of these things contribute back to Black history, but nobody knows about Black history because if you know about Black
under
history,
the Vatican, that's why
you have knowledge.
Can I ask personal questions? Both of y'all, personal questions, not too deep. But who is y'all muse? You guys have a muse? Like I know there's probably a couple, obviously, because we all have a couple muses. But who is truly your muse? When somebody you look up to, somebody that really when you talk about them, it hit different. It could be anybody y'all want, but who really stands out of everybody? Who is your muse? Because y'all both obviously have achieved a lot of things, just professionally, but mentally as well. The way you guys speak, the way you guys come across, everything, right? It's such a high level. I think that it takes a lot of things to get us there as human beings. So I feel like muses definitely help us reach those potentials as well as far as thoughts too. So I want to know, because I'm very interested to know you guys' muse, if you have one.
It's hard, but I'm gonna keep it a stack. My grandmother was a Black Panther.
I knew it.
What else will we come from?
Yeah, like,
what else would Nigel and I come out of if we didn't come from Black Panthers?
Exactly. So like, I don't really like to. Don't tell my grandma.
We ain't gonna tell her.
My grandma don't like people knowing. You feel me?
Let's see the podcast.
My grandmother was a Black Panther until I did really research, and that's a whole different concept of conversation because that's a different aspect of where America was at during that time. Right? I mean, we can go into that, but
they're scared of death. They don't want to go back to that time.
We don't need to go back to that time. You feel me? So I would say one of my muses is my grandmother because, you know, she really taught me to be so even to the sense of I'm a fair-skinned Black person, you know, and she's a fair-skinned Black person, but she was so much for Black power that she taught me that you shouldn't fear anything when it deals with Black power, and you should be appreciative and empowering to your own people. You feel me? So, and I'm gonna keep it stacked. I didn't even know what light skin was until I got to middle school when somebody called me light skin. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Fuck is light skin?
Light skin. Like, my grandma told me I'm Black. My father told me I'm Black.
Right.
So I would say that's my muse because at the end of the day, that was the first person to really embody the aspect of just being truly Black and embracing it, whether or not I was fair skinned, whether or not I was here. My grandmother grew up in Harlem. She was from Georgia. She moved up to Harlem. She was in a slave state. My great grandmother was a slave. You feel me? So there wasn't no, and the reason why I'm probably light skinned is because of being a mulatto, of somebody raping my great grandmother. You feel me? So I come from slave roots. So there's no reason for me not to be that much more enthusiastically Black.
Right.
Unapologetically,
because you could trace it.
Exactly. And Nigel, I'm gonna have to correct you because you know I love you.
Of course,
we're not gonna call that skin complexion fair because fair means favorable.
Exactly.
So we can call you light skin, but we're not gonna use the term fair skin.
I like that. Listen, and this is why you should keep people around you in your circle that really enlighten you even more. And this is the relationship.
I've always said that.
Because
you're somebody that's always gonna yes you to death or be the same thought process. You need to keep people around you that think differently.
Exactly.
Make you uncomfortable sometimes. I
love that because at the end of the day, I took that and already, even though that I responded, I've already solidified that because it's like I'm not gonna call myself fair skinned anymore.
See.
That's a fact, though.
And that's something that we don't know as a culture. Our culture was robbed from us.
It's a shame that we don't know.
I don't think that people understand that. You feel me?
And that's what I think about what Pat's thing with AB. I feel like he was kind of right because some accountability is on Black people. Like we should know about ourselves, and they're not gonna teach us. So you gotta take that shit up yourself.
Exactly. And I think it's we have to also think about education, right? So like our education system is built in a way for us to not know about ourselves because if we did know about ourselves, then we can't continue to be slaves. So like we have been indoctrinated into a mindset of thinking that we're supposed to rely on the white man and the education system to give us all of our things that we need. At any point in the government said Black people can't eat from this point on. How many of us have access to land?
Yeah.
If today they said if you are Black or brown, you don't get to go to the grocery store. What y'all doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
funny.
Know
what I'm saying? Like we rely on the system. We have allowed ourselves to become dependent.
Talk that self-sufficient shit.
Because I ain't talking if I'm not talking about building wealth and and people don't understand that health is also wealth. We can, like I said, we talked about medicine before, and that's not something I introduce into my body. But like when it comes to like understanding how the dependency that we have on the American system, that we cannot survive without them handing us our means to do so.
Yep.
So when we say like Black people have to educate themselves, the difficulty there is where do we start if we have taught ourselves that we have to rely and depend on them in order to understand how to move in American society. We don't even know why we work 40 hours a week. I was just talking to this before a friend of mine, like You work 40 hours a week because it took Henry Ford 40 hours to create a car.
Don't you
it took 40 hours to produce a car by Henry Ford. Why are you still working 40 hours a week?
You talking
right.
Talking.
It's really fucking
all our lives. No idea about this.
Nobody else in the
glasses.
Nobody else in the world works 40 hours a week.
There's no such thing as that.
Nobody else in the world.
Anywhere.
Right.
So, like, if we did have access to knowledge, what would we do with it?
And not for nothing, when like just the way you're talking about, we in schools and stuff, we learn about all these different kingdoms. We learn about all these ancient dynasties, and then all we know is about Egypt. Why just Egypt? What else is going on in Africa? Nothing else, but just Egypt.
Yeah, and I'm like, your education system is built to keep you a slave.
Damn.
The fact of the matter is, who told you created the cotton gin?
Eli Whitney, but it's not Eli Whitney. All Eli Whitney did was sign at the patent office.
All he did was
everybody who signed a patent.
Because the fact of the matter was, slaves couldn't have a patent.
Right.
Why would a white man make it easier for slaves
for labor? Right. Anything.
That of course, and that was my concept. I was like,
why would a white man?
Why would I want to be efficient? I get free labor.
I get free labor. Why would I want my slaves to work? Slaves made it easier for themselves. All of ingenuity from that time until now was depicted upon slavery. Mm-hmm. Slaves that created. We have always been the creative mind. We created the traffic light. We created peanut butter. We created the cotton gin. We created all these things, but we couldn't own a patent.
Everything. Just say everything.
Let me ask you one more question. One more question. Why does Thomas and Edison need a blueprint to create a light bulb?
Because it wasn't their idea. It's clear. It's clear.
Why do you need a blueprint to create what you've already done?
Why does Christopher Columbus need maps?
But how is that?
If you didn't know where the hell he was going.
If you're discovering, why you need maps?
Is that really any different today, or is it just
no?
Exactly. No. Like it's nothing different.
Because you know why?
Let's just go back to
Nigel just said this. They wanted to they didn't want to put his name on the report,
right?
On the work he was doing when he was doing it. It's the same. Exactly. It's the same shit.
Right. And let's just go to sports, right? We go to sports and we look. Let's just go to NFL because NFL is the most racist, in my opinion, part of ownership that you can have. Right. In the NFL, you got how many black coaches you think deserve a job? Forget about ownership because there's a bunch of people that could own a team, right? How about just a coach, bro? Just a coach. Millions, yeah. A coach that's fucking working with the wide receiver. Why don't they have a head coaching job? Oh, because the guy that failed 14 times is white, but he's a household name. Yeah. Bruh, to me, it's disguised. Everything is disguised in some wordage, right? And I feel like you saying the same thing. Somebody can't get a patent, but the motherfucker can sign on the thing. Well, this motherfucker over here in the NFL, fuck it, Randy Moss going crazy. He's learning techniques from a black man. But now the white man is Bill Parcells or whoever it is, Bill Belichick, and he's getting credit for it.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like the disguise is bullshit to my, in my opinion, it's such bullshit. And I can understand where the hell y'all come from. It just forget, the past, of course.
It's because we originally never had any value set on us. So any kind of achievement we did was like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because we wasn't supposed to be doing any of that shit. We wasn't even human. First of all, we wasn't even human at first. We wasn't even human. We had to fight to be human.
Value though, because technically we were the first thing that was sold on the stock market. We were the first commodity of American corporation. Right. So let's not say we didn't have value. We absolutely did. It used to be against the law to harm a slave. It used to be against the law in order to, you had to pay out another, I hate the word when I say slave owner because it when I say the word slave, it depersonalized the experience. Someone who owned people. So let's keep it a stack, because when people use the word slave, it always triggers me in a way, because if we use the word slave, then we separate the human experience of slavery. And so let's call it keep it a stacked. Someone who was owned, a person who was owned.
I like that better.
So when we have, if you would have harmed or maimed or hurt another person who was owned, you had to pay that owner for their damages to their property. Mm-hmm. So we absolutely had value.
For sure.
Oh. We create value. We create American value, whether it's our culture, whether it's if we decide what's popping today, that's what has value. We decide what music is popping today, that's what has value. We decide if our locks are going to be popular, that's what have value. So we absolutely have value.
Funny.
How that value is manipulated and controlled is what happens in American society.
Right.
Yep.
We've always been priceless.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing I want people to know going into this Juneteenth is that the world in this country may have convinced you that you were not worthy and that you didn't have value and you did not have worth, but you are all things that has created this world. You are all things that make society run. You are all things that make people think. You are all things that make people believe. You are all things that make people hope. So let's not drink the Kool-Aid in the belief that we never had value. We are America.
There is no history without Black history.
I love that. I love that. I went around to my white friends and I was asking them, what is white history in America?
There's no such thing as white culture.
There isn't.
No.
If you ask somebody what white culture, what?
Let's keep it a stack. Whiteness was also just something you could purchase. So like
them laborers, talk about them laborers, the labor unions.
White royalty cards. There were Black people in Virgin Islands when there were too many, when the Black people were released from slavery, there were way too many Black people than there were white people, and they had to balance out the scales. So they went over to the Virgin Islands to people as Black as me and was like, here's your white royalties card. You get to be white. You get to have whiteness. Up until 60, if you were Portuguese, you were considered white. If you were Asian, you were considered white. Anything that was not a descendant of slavery, you had whiteness, and you had the power of whiteness. And you received a white royalties card. So even down to Sarah Rector, who was born into slavery, when she acquired land from her slave owners, her land had oil on it. Black people could not own oil. So they gave her the option. You can have a white man own this property, or you can take this identity card that says you are white, and you get to keep your land. And you, as a Black woman, you get to keep your land, but you have to identify as white. So let's keep it a stack, because white wasn't always about skin color either. It was about social power.
It was, yes.
And if you were able to acquire white royalties, then you got to have whiteness, which has been weaponized through society in general.
Oh boy!
Oh boy! Don't take that there.
Oh boy!
Especially, I'm not gonna say it.
Oh boy, the white fragility. Here we go.
I'm not gonna say it. Whiteness has been weaponized by white women more than anybody in this country.
Absolutely.
And the fact of the matter is, I'm not even gonna go that deep.
Just say it.
If you take it back, you can see how white women have weaponized whiteness more than anybody else in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But what other power do they have?
Oh! Actually, I'm sorry. Lee, I'm not trying to go there. You feel me? Because
but that's real.
No, it is. It's facts.
It's real.
They're not men. They own land.
They owned land. They had everything. Right. White women, all they had was their white.
Yes.
Exactly. And the fact of the matter is, that's where we get Karens from, because all they have is to be Karen.
Right.
Oh. That's all they have, because they have nothing else. Ooh. Their man is working. Their man has all of these things. They have nothing else but to be a Karen in their state.
And in their world, they're the lowest of the totem pole.
Exactly. So if I'm in the lowest of the totem pole in my world, I'm going to make sure I make you feel like you're lower than me, because I have no power in where I stand.
Right.
Can I ask y'all a question too? Can I ask y'all a question too? Just like you said that, I just thought of something, because I hear it a lot, and I just want to hear your thoughts on it. When you see a Black male, preferably a Black male, get married to a white woman,
woo,
I hear it a lot. Listen, it's a
hello? Dr. Umar? Yeah, it's Pat. It's Pat.
You trying to stir something?
I am trying to stir something. we have a controversy and real facts. So I want to know how y'all feel. Truthfully, I don't got to hold that back.
Truthfully, I was upset about it before. I'm not now, because the baby gonna be black. You know what I'm saying? And they'll have. I hope the black parent in the situation, teaches them about the culture and what to do and what not to do, because your society is gonna say you're black.
Look like
you know what I mean?
Oh.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm all about
go off
the keeping things dark, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, ever watch First Take?
I'm gonna let you take it first.
Oh yeah, see that little tremble? That's fire. Burn it. Go ahead. Come on.
A black man marrying a white woman.
Yes.
I want us to talk about the union of marriage and what it signifies, right?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead now.
The becoming of one. And so when a man chooses a partner, he is making a conscious decision of the reflection of how he sees himself.
Ooh. He's married into the whiteness.
What he is choosing for his life, what he is choosing for his future, and what he is choosing as a reflection of how he shows up in the world.
Right.
So the choice of choosing a white woman, and this is just me, y'all know I'm a therapist, so like this is also work that I've done with some black men and them understanding that some of them, from my experience, choose this trophy of attainment that separates them from the reality that they think they could escape from of blackness. And
that's deep.
They get to be adopted in a world where they believe that they won't struggle. And they are adopted into a world where they see this trophy as access to a world that they thought they would never have.
Almost like a key.
This is their key,
right,
into a world into the world of whiteness that they do not realize that it's also being weaponized against them. But they are under the belief that they are one step closer out of their circumstances, because you get to wake up to this woman and you don't have to look at the pain in her eyes of being a black woman. You don't have to feel guilty and the pain of feeling like I can't help this black woman who is surviving this life that I can't protect her from. To be a black man and to feel like you cannot protect your woman from the world that is tearing you down. And so that pain that you see in that black woman's eyes, you are choosing not to see it because you can't handle not being able to protect her from the same world that's tearing you down. So the other option you have is to look into eyes that don't remind you of your pain, that don't remind you of the black woman's pain. And you get to, for those moments, participate in a world that is a lie, but it allows you freedom from your own mental slavery.
Now, Naja, I'm gonna let you go. I promise. But I gotta ask Lee one more question.
Keep going.
It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be a little bit funny on this question. So, what do you say about the black women that love motherfuckers like Jack Harlow?
Man, fuck Jack Harlow. I'm tired of this shit, man. I'm tired of this little strong white nigga going around.
That's why I said it's gonna be funny. But seriously, what do you feel about black women that love white guys like Jack Harlow?
I feel like black men have also made the mistake in treating black women very poorly. And especially dark-skinned black women who have always been seen as something that you practice sex on, but you never love. And I believe that oftentimes, I believe the story is the same of surviving American society as a black woman, and then not having to struggle with a black man. Some women choose that. I am not that. I want to see the pain that I feel in the eyes of my partner. I want you to understand what I mean when I go out of the door and I have to deal with whiteness. I want us to come back together and create a space that is full of love and understanding and growth. And but I believe that sometimes Black women have always been treated very well. And so for the things that make them Black.
Right.
Because society has brainwashed us into thinking that Blackness is not beautiful and Blackness is not worthy. And so I think it's the same thing. It's a mental break from the reality. And sometimes these white men come along and they're like, oh, I love your natural hair. And that's so beautiful.
Yo, chill out.
Whereas Tyrone is like, bitch, you gonna get a relaxer? What you gonna do with that? Like, and so I think it's the same thing. I think it's
they appreciate it.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's people who want a break from the struggle. And they see, access to these partners as a break.
Right.
And that's just me also talking about when I work with my clients, Black women who are saying like, I don't want to have to struggle everywhere.
Right.
Oof.
Yeah.
But here's from experience, because I dated a white girl, literally. Like,
we're gonna talk about you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I didn't made my revolutions around the sun. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they say. Yeah. I mean, I didn't take it that far as a break from, maybe subconsciously I did, and then didn't really notice it. But I wasn't doing it because I couldn't get with a Black girl or didn't want to struggle, because I was still Black with her. But and I told her that, I'm like, listen, you're gonna get a lot of stares. There's gonna be a lot of unwarranted attention because you with me. You know what I mean? You gotta know it's just the plights of being with a brother. You know what I'm saying? So I felt that, but I also felt the cultural differences and the uncomfortability around a whole bunch of white people and just being the only brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, to me, it hit different than being with someone of color, because yes, similar plights, but I could be the only Black dude if we all brown. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's just, and it just didn't fit right. You know what I mean? I felt like I had to be different just to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't wake up and listen to DMX if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I had to, you know what I mean? I had to put on something. I had to put on Bryson Tiller and shit. I don't, you know what I mean? I ain't like that. I like X in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah. So after, the relationship it did what it did. But then I realized I probably never do that again, because I didn't feel like the cultural hug, you know what I'm saying, that I needed. You know what I'm saying? Like it, I've dated Black women, I've dated Latinas. It's the hug. The hug's different, but it's still a hug. Like there was
that hug when you shake off the trauma. It's like,
you know what I'm saying?
It's an embrace.
I couldn't jack it.
I got another funny kind of question, but a real question, right? Like, so me, I only dated one white girl. I dated her when I was like 19, 20. That's it. After that, it's been Black women, Spanish women, or Black mix, right? So for people like me,
One Asian.
So for people like me, right? I'm white and Puerto Rican, right? So I'm blended in a certain way. But for people like me, I'm not really attracted to white women. So how would y'all feel? And not saying y'all know me, because y'all don't know me, right? So let's just say I'm on the street and y'all see me with a beautiful light-skinned woman. Would that make you feel some type of way? Would it be a prejudgment in seeing me like that?
Yeah.
Like, do you guys feel like that?
I think that there's always a prejudgment with Black men with white women.
Mm-hmm. Or vice versa.
It's vice versa. It's always a prejudgment with that. It's Black women feel like, like when they see us with white women, they're like, "The fuck you doing with that white woman?"
That's why I had to ask that question.
With us, it's like, "Yo, why you with this?" Like, come on, like, you can do better. It's
Billy, Tom, and Harry.
Exactly. It's always like that. But I think that that's something that, and you'll see, like, there's different types of Black people.
Right.
So that's something that we don't talk about.
Right.
There's different types of Black people that have grown up in different atmospheres of white people. And the different Black people treat different white people differently.
Right.
You know? Mm-hmm. So you'll see that in a lot, and then you'll see some of those white kids that say, "Yeah, I got a Black friend." You know what type of Black friend they got,
right?
I'll tell you one thing: if a white person says whatever, something racist, and say,
I got a Black friend,
I got a Black friend,
the Black friend has never told them to say that.
Yeah,
never.
No,
exactly.
Never told them to say that. Exactly. So I just want to make that clear. If you tell me that, if white people, if you're listening, if you say some shit disrespectful, you say, "I got a Black friend, got a Black niece," da 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 da, you're proving you're not racist.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means you're racist.
Right.
And that's the thing, like how in that moment you are also weaponizing Blackness in order to protect your whiteness.
Right.
When we come to
like the mind fuck of that, like in that moment, you now weaponize your whiteness to call upon the Blackness in order to protect your whiteness.
Right. I got a Black cousin.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Fuck that with me. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hey, I'm still fighting. We still knock you out.
Yeah, the fucking Black. He's got a Black cousin. We can't touch him.
The most competent white person I've ever met in my life said, "I am racist, but I might not know." And that's a fact.
The bare minimum. Oh my God.
Like, I am racist, but I might not know that I'm racist because this is something that's embedded in me from the time that I'm born up until
literally.
Good
One
question.
of my closest friends had the same thing. Like,
and we had a teacher like that. Mm-hmm. We had an exact teacher like that said, "I might be racist, but I might not know my racism."
So you believe people are born racist?
Not that people are born racist, but people are taught how to be racist.
Oh yeah,
people are absolutely indoctrinated
because you've seen a white baby come up to you. You've seen a white baby come up to you and love you the same way.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Right. That's why I asked the question.
But the fact of the matter is that racism is taught.
Exactly.
And it's taught from a young
It's an experience. Whiteness is an experience.
Right.
And I had to talk to my friend about that before because she has Black children and she was on a plane and the lady behind her had her light on. And so she turned around to ask because her son kept saying, like, "Mom, the light is too bright, it's too bright." And so she turned around to ask the lady if she would cut her light off. And she couldn't connect how that behavior was rooted in whiteness. Exactly. And so she was like, "Well, all I did was just ask her to cut her light off." And I said, and that's the difference is because as a Black person, I have been taught to accommodate white people and to never ask them to accommodate me.
Exactly.
Your whiteness gave you the audacity to ask someone to accommodate themselves in order to accommodate what your child needed in that moment.
Exactly.
And that's where it says people think like people are born. They are born into racism.
Exactly.
They are born into whiteness. We are born into concepts of subordination.
Yes.
And so from our upbringing, we are taught to not make people uncomfortable. We're taught to never even think we're supposed to ask people to change whatever they're doing to accommodate our comfort. They are not.
Right.
They are taught that if things make you uncomfortable, you're allowed to ask people to change what they're doing to accommodate.
Gently,
politely. And that's the same way we're born into oppression.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's the same thing, but on different spectrums. And the fact of the matter is, we're willing to accommodate them and meet them where they're at of their ignorance.
Right.
But we're not willing to understand their ignorance or meet us.
We've been taught that for survival, though. Like
exactly,
it had nothing to do with us wanting to meet white people where they are. It has been. It is our survival relies on their comfort.
Exactly.
Our livelihood relies on them being comfortable. So we have adopted an ideology and a way of living of accommodating their comfort in order to survive and make it home.
Yes. That, and you know what's funny? That's a conversation that we had to explain to our white people in our class. they were like, oh yeah, like I come to school and it's like, listen, I came to Texas because I have to survive. My mom cried when I moved to Texas because she said, Nigel, you can't be the type of person you are in Texas.
Mom ain't lying.
And I said, what you mean? She said, Nigel, you can't be the type of person you are down there because the type of person you are down there will get you killed.
Right.
And that's a conversation that no white person has to have with their child, sibling, family.
Someone might harm you just because of the way you are.
Just because of the way I am.
Yeah. No.
You know, and I'm unapologetic. I'm the
and
type
that's
of person,
right.
like,
and that's what y'all was saying earlier when I was talking about, like, you know, is it that racism, people are more blatant, people are more, no, people are still the same, it's just documented now.
It's documented now. Yep.
Exact.
We just now have a platform for it to be seen on a regular basis.
Right.
Which also perpetuates trauma and normalizes racism. And it normalizes Black people, Black oppression, and it normalizes the murdering and the you know, all those things of Black people, because we are becoming desensitized.
Yeah.
Every day we cut on the news, we're becoming desensitized.
Mass shootings, everything. Just
I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news.
It's not even surprising anymore. We're like, oh,
all right, just another
the first 5 seconds, like the first thing, it could be like 12 o'clock news. No, I didn't hear it. I don't watch the news all day. The first thing I hear, fire in the Bronx, blah, killed 10 people. Like, that's the first thing you got to tell me. Like, why couldn't it be like,
people live off of, though? That negativity is what people live off.
Damn,
sick disease, bro.
White mass shooting. We're taking him into custody to make sure we ask more questions. Right. Bronx shooting, Black nigga dead.
Right, facts.
Oh, you feel me? So like
Buffalo example is a great example.
But that's what I'm saying.
Buffalo, like, Dylan Roof, all them shits, bro.
Yeah, I'm just saying recent Buffalo.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, back to your question, when like I feel like, you know, if Black men date white women date Black men, I feel like at the end of the day, there's a barrier that your partner will never understand.
Right.
Never.
And the fact of the matter is that as much as you try, your partner and your kids will never be able to connect with that person or that parent the same way that you connect with society.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the fact of the matter is you'll have to teach your children how to survive in a Black world that's against them, or in a white world that's against them. The fact of the matter is their mother won't be able to teach them how to survive.
And won't even get that.
Right.
This is the world that she's lived in her whole life.
She can they can only truly use the knowledge that they've learned, but they use the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? It stops at a certain limit.
There's no knowledge. But there's no knowledge in the world that you're ignorant to.
Right.
And even like education isn't built to block out Blackness. I think that's one thing people have to know. Education isn't built to block out Blackness. It is built to protect white fragility.
Exactly. And white fragility is really a disease.
I'm about to say it's a sickness.
Sickness.
Do you see on TikTok when they be doing this shit, when they be like fake crying and they're perfectly fine? Like,
bro, I'm gonna tell you, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really go in deep with this. Like you say, I was racially profiled in my community, literally, and I just had a meeting with the vice president, and she said, "What could you do to teach us how to be better? Why do I have to teach you how to be better?"
You're right.
Because you're the resident Black person.
Why do I, as a Black man, have to teach you how to be better?
Me as the president of all Black delegation.
Right.
And that's what in their heads they say you're the head nigga.
Oh my god.
You're elite nigga.
That's
you to teach us how to be the best people that we can be. And I said, and the crazy part is I was glad that had my mom on the phone at the time. She said, "Why would he teach you how to be better? Isn't this something that you should learn? We live in a world where this is something you should learn, right?"
Right.
And
why should not somebody else should be teaching it?
Right. And it's so crazy to think, like, even when people come and they invite Black people to come speak about Juneteenth, and they invite Black people to teach about Black history, and it's like, you grew up in the same society as me.
That part.
Right.
We grew up in the same country.
Right.
That's it.
How do you not know my reality, but I know everything about you?
Two separate ones.
It's two separate.
And that's the duality of American society is that we have to know you in order to survive.
Know thy enemy.
You don't even know we exist.
It's a lot of power though.
Yeah.
But that's the dangerous part though. That's the dangerous part though, is because we know thy enemy, they don't know shit about us. So black people are capable of anything. Anything.
But that's why
you're lucky. You're lucky.
They fear us.
You're lucky. We're lucky.
That's why people are feared.
We're the most dangerous.
Yeah.
They don't know what we're capable of.
And you're lucky that we just want to be civil.
You're lucky. I just want to exist.
I just want to fit in. I don't want to take over. I just want to fit in.
But that's the fear. And the thing about it is, because of their reality, they can't fathom an idea or the reality that we don't want to take over. It's because if I was in your shoes, I would have been dead. So they can't even understand that
because they forgot.
The only thing we want to do is be left alone.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. They're like, oh yeah, because in their mind it's like, wait, let's take these people from their sense of nobility, their advancements, bring them over here, disenfranchise them, oppress them for years.
Give them a new religion, a new name, new language.
Still fuck with them, even to the modern day, and then they'll be okay. They just want to work in peace and call it a day, make a living.
So that's it. There's no way.
Wait,
put them in prison.
Yeah, right. Lock them up. Lock
them up. They're unpredictable.
What is this? Crack? Yeah, throw that at them. Yeah, throw that at them,
bro.
Oh, you're sad? You need something to pacify it with? Here's some crack.
Right. Here's crack. Go ahead.
And now we're going to call you a crackhead. And then we're going to put you in prison for it. And then we're going to talk about your children who become crack babies. And then we're going to say they can't make it through society. So we're going to pass them through all their grades. So they don't have to ever have an education. But then we're also not going to hire them because they don't have an education.
Exactly.
The projects is a project. Let's never forget that.
You need more
social
education.
Stratification is a thing. The projects is a project.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're getting to this deep question here because I wanted to ask this. For some people who don't know, right? There is a very keen difference between prejudice and racism.
Yes.
Those are two different definitions.
Right. But some people think that, they mistake the prejudice for racism.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And discrimination.
Right. And discrimination. And I want y'all to elaborate that for people because some people just feel like just some mean words was like, okay, they're racist. Like, no, this person really isn't racist.
They just don't like you.
Yeah, just hate. He hates you because you're black. Yes, but it's not racist. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do anything to really harbor your life in any of the major institutions. You know what I'm saying? That's it to me. If somebody's affecting how I live in the main institutions, then yeah, you racist.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Prejudice, discrimination, all of these things can fit into racism.
Okay. Yes.
That's a difference.
Because it's hate.
Exactly. So that's a difference first. Those three things can fit into racism. Prejudice and discrimination are two different things also. We all naturally we discriminate against people generally.
Right.
It's a natural thing. Prejudice, we have different prejudice against people, different races. It's a natural thing that we all have. We have all our different prejudices, but also there's an extent to where people take it to another level,
which is racism.
Exactly. But there's different aspects of that also, which actually I see her bubbling over there.
But basically, it's the action. Is the action based on of the hate?
It's not always action. It's also an ideology. That's the most dangerous part.
Ism, but I thought ism. I took it like a literal.
Yeah, it's the belief.
Okay, so you got it.
Okay, exactly. There it is.
Racism is a belief. It's an ideology that operates American society, right? Yeah. So it's people will be like, oh, I don't like you because you black. That's your preference. That's discrimination, right? That's prejudice.
Yeah.
But to say like you can't be in this space because
you're black is a racism act.
Okay. It's the ideology of thinking that someone does not deserve to exist in the manner in which you do.
Exactly.
That's when it becomes, that's when it graduates from just a feeling or dislike. I don't care if you don't dislike me. It's a feeling or a dislike into thinking that you have the audacity to decide if I'm allowed to survive in society.
Exactly.
And how I survive in society.
Exactly. And that's what it is. Racism is literally the distinguishment in making that race superior. You feel me? So that person thinks that my race is superior, or I distinguish that your race is inferior because, like she said, my race, because I'm white, you can't be in this space. Because I'm white, you can't do the things that I do because I'm white. You know, that's a form of racism. So that's why I said there's a difference between prejudice, racism, and all of these other aspects of discrimination.
Okay, I like
you know, so it's very different.
I got a rebound question for that now.
Okay, we with it. We with it.
So let's see here.
Y'all got me like another 10 minutes. Look.
I know. That's what's going on. It was like close champs. You know what I'm saying? And this could be a yes or no question. Maybe you could delve deeper into this if you want. Today in the modern society, is there a black genocide happening?
Well, I'll let you go first.
When did the black genocide stop?
Oh! All right. I wasn't going to go that crazy at first, but that was my response.
No.
When did it stop?
Right. But some people don't even identify when it happened or when it stopped at all. But the fact that they're missing it now is crazy.
It went from, blatant just murdering and killing and stabbing to now like our foods, to high fructose corn syrup, to the fact that every hood has a McDonald's and a liquor store within like miles of each other.
That's how you know it's a hood.
Like it's within like when you genocide is now embedded into our livelihood of surviving America. Like Black people the process of surviving America is the game of genocide.
Oh my God, I gotta go. Oh my God.
Dime.
I told you not to get us started.
What they say when you give a good pass, dime. Dime.
It is literally, we are literally in Squid Games. Like we are in Black genocide never stopped. It just changed their methods into ways that we just kill ourselves.
Right.
And it's not even, and when people think we kill ourselves, they're thinking about, we talking about guns and shooting each other. Nah, because Black people don't kill each other more than white people do.
Exactly.
We are killing ourselves because of the lack of knowledge of what we are doing to ourselves, to our food, through our lack of access to resources, through our lack of exercise, so they don't have to do it for us anymore. Right. We pass it on through the generation by way of heart disease and diabetes and
gout.
Hello, these are all these pieces that like were created in our society, built to sustain itself, and now we operate the machine.
I love that question. I know y'all got to get out of here because I know we're pushing crazy time. So I got to ask this question of both of y'all. I ask it every episode, and it's a big part of the show. When y'all hear the word culture, I'll start with Nigel first. When you hear the word culture, first thing, not everything, but first thing that comes to mind, I want to hear from you. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
When I hear the word culture?
Culture, yeah.
When I hear the word culture, I mean, to me personally, what is culture without Black culture?
Oh my, see, you hit the nail on the head, Nigel.
So my thing is, everybody says, yeah, this is culture. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. There's no such thing as white culture. You've never heard of white culture before.
Never existed.
People never say, but people say Black culture. But Black culture pushes every other culture.
Now it's urban culture. Now it's not Black culture. Urban culture.
Urban or what did they say? BIPOC.
Right.
Black indigenous people of color. It's a nice way of saying nigger. So at the end of the day, there is no culture without Black culture.
Yeah.
Black culture pushes every other culture. And the fact of the matter is, there's no such thing as true culture in America. Let me give you an example real quick. When you sign up, when you check the boxes on your new job that you've got, like, what do they say on there? It says African American, white,
Spanish,
American. They don't say Spanish.
Hispanic.
Hispanic is an ethnicity.
Yeah, but it's black, white, Asian first. Then you drill. Then you drill down.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Why is Hispanic an ethnicity and not a culture?
You know what?
Is there not Dominican, Puerto Rican, Portuguese, all of these other peoples? Brazilian, Mexican. Why is Hispanic a ethnicity and not a culture?
Honestly, I think because there's no box for brown. That's what I think.
Why is there not? There's Black. There's African American and there's Black. So there's a differentiation between African American and Black, but there's not a differentiation between Hispanic. Because the fact of the matter is, Hispanic is a way for white people to check white and Hispanic and still be a minority.
Right.
So the fact of the matter
is, you didn't know there's such thing as white Hispanics?
Oh, no, I know that white Hispanics. Obviously, look, Argentina. Look at her. Yeah, I know.
How are you a white Hispanic? Because in this world, if you're a drop of Black, you're Black no matter what you are.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is, what's really culture? Because the fact of the matter is, if you're a drop of Black, it doesn't matter what other culture you are. You're Black.
That's true.
So what is culture in America? So the fact of the matter is, like I said,
the computers be computing.
And when I literally combated this in my doctoral program, people looked at me, you're incompetent.
Of course, because you challenge the natural thought.
Because there should be a box for brown.
There should be, and even not even brown. Like I said, even there should be a box for Hispanic people. There's different cultures in Hispanic culture.
There is. Exactly. There is different cultures.
The fact of the matter is, it gives people the privilege of saying they're a minority while being white. Because at the end of the day, you can check Black and check Hispanic, but people will still identify you as what?
Black.
So the fact of the matter is, what's really culture in America? You're asking me a question depicted upon where I live at, or what region I've raised in, or what society I've brought up in. Culture in Europe is different. Everybody's white. They don't negate that they're white.
But it's regional.
That's why I say culture is no. That's why I say when you ask somebody what culture is to them, is really no wrong answer.
It's not that there's no wrong answer. It's just there is no answer.
Right.
Because culture is depicted upon how much we can oppress another culture.
Oh.
How much can we oppress somebody from realizing that they're their own culture? We tell people in all of our textbooks, culture and even African American history, all these things is only a paragraph in our textbooks for mental health therapists. Just a paragraph. So the fact of the matter is that people tell you what culture is. How are you going to tell me what my culture is?
Right.
How can you put a paragraph together of what my Black culture embodies?
Yeah. What was it Webster and Million? What of them? Yeah.
It makes no sense. So I can tell you what my culture is, but the fact of the matter is, you've been taught all of your life what culture isn't.
Right. You have.
Bars.
You have. You definitely have. Growing up, for sure.
I'm gonna let Ashley take because she about to spice it up now.
No, I'm not. My answer is gonna be a lot more simple.
What is culture to you, Lee?
Love.
I like that. That's it. Just love.
The hug. That's the hug that I'm talking about. Remember the hug? It's the cultural hug.
That's that ending hug right there. She hit it off with the
cultures give you that hug.
It's love. It's the only way that love is transferred.
Right.
It's transferred through our foods. It's transferred through our language. It's transferred through not having language, but being able to lock eyes with someone who've had your experience and they just know what you're thinking. It's the head nod.
Yes.
It's the connection that is beyond culture, and love is the one thing that is boundless, that is geographically limitless, that extends beyond the spaces in which you were raised and exposed to. And when I say love, I'm thinking about Blackness in general, because that same head nod looks the same in Europe. It looks the same in Egypt. It looks the same in, you know, when you come across someone who looks like you and you can just,
it's a dab.
You know, that's love. That's safety. That is connectivity that knows no bounds, that knows no limits. But it's full of pain, and it's full of survival, and it's full of purpose, and it has its own inkling of hope.
I love that.
Hey, man.
I love that.
I'm sold.
Right. You put that together so well.
I love that aspect of culture.
Right.
I love it.
And you put that together. Both of y'all put that together.
And that's the cultural diffusion of culture. All right. Let me go. I remember some things. I remember some things. You know what I mean?
Which is why we got to keep people out of our culture.
Oof.
Because the
vanguards in our
look
culture.
The same,
It's ours. It's
exactly.
Why?
Soon as you do it, it's yours. You can have it. When white people start doing the dab, you can have it. You can have it.
We on to the next one.
Right.
I don't even want it no more. You got it.
We on to the next one.
The gritty, y'all. I'm done with it. Y'all have it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it.
Listen, I think first of all, Los already knows, but Nigel Lee, I think y'all are extremely intelligent, unbelievable humans. You know, there's not a lot of people like you guys on this earth, and I really appreciate both of you guys for not only educating people that are going to watch podcasts, but personally me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a person that always is willing to learn. But I'm always willing to learn and have the knowledge that is important, like you said. And y'all have taught me a lot and humbled just me, and I'm sure a lot of other people that y'all will. And y'all very strong, and I really appreciate y'all. Like Los was saying, y'all deserve y'all flowers for what y'all do in your community, what y'all do for your family, your friends, and the people around, whoever you meet, whoever you touch. So I personally, from me, want to say thank you for y'all just being here and blessing me. I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I really do. And this is Culture Shock Podcast at its finest, episode 9. So I just want to say thank y'all and peace, y'all. Good night.